Have you ever stopped to wonder why you think the way you do? Most people never do. They absorb opinions, repeat slogans, and defend beliefs they never chose in the first place. And without realizing it, they end up living a life built on second-hand thinking and borrowed approval. But what if you could break free from all that? What if you could sharpen your mind so that it becomes truly yours, and silence the endless need for validation from others? Today, we're going to explore how to think beyond limits, cultivate critical thought, and finally free yourself from the prison of external approval. Most people never stop to ask why they think the way they do. They follow inherited opinions, memorized slogans, and second-hand beliefs. They don't question the system, they conform to it, not because they're weak, because they never learned to think beyond what they were given. Critical thinking isn't an academic exercise, it's survival. In a world full of manipulation, noise, and shallow thinking, cultivating critical thought is how you stay free, mentally free, emotionally grounded, intellectually honest. It's how you stop being a sponge and start being a filter. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking means you think on purpose. You don't just absorb, you don't just react. You analyze, you question, you investigate, you doubt, not because you're negative, but because you care about the truth. It's not about being skeptical of everything. It's about not taking things at face value. It's asking, what am I being told? Who benefits from me believing this? What assumptions are baked into this argument? Is there more to the story? You can apply this to anything: politics, media, religion, education, thoughts, and the past. You can apply it to praise and criticism, love and rejection. You stop treating your thoughts like facts. You look at them. You break them down. You rebuild what actually holds up under pressure. But it's not just external pressure, it's internal. People resist questioning because it's uncomfortable. Doubt threatens certainty. Thinking differently can mean rejection, isolation, and uncertainty, but growth never happens in comfort. Why most people don't think critically? Let's be honest, thinking critically takes effort, and most people are tired, distracted, overstimulated. They don't want to think, they want to feel right. They want simplicity, validation, and certainty. And the world gives them just that. Headlines designed to provoke, leaders who simplify the truth into slogans, and algorithms that serve you more of what you already believe. Thinking beyond limits feels inconvenient. It slows you down. It forces you to consider perspectives that challenge your ego. It makes you uncertain. That's why people avoid it. But that avoidance has a cost. When you don't think critically, you don't own your beliefs. You inherit them, you copy them. You defend them without understanding them. And when life hits you or someone challenges you, you crumble, or lash out, or dig in blindly. And it doesn't stop there. You make choices that don't truly belong to you, decisions based on assumptions you never examined, values you never questioned, influences you never resisted. You follow paths laid out by others, convinced they're right, until you wake up wondering why you feel lost, why success feels empty, why life doesn't feel like yours. Cultivating the habit of questioning. Here's where it starts. You question everything, not out of cynicism, but out of clarity. You ask yourself, why do I believe this? Where did I learn it? What's the evidence? What's the counterpoint? What if I'm wrong? That last one separates real thinkers from the rest. Most people never ask it. They're too invested in being right. But if you can entertain the possibility that you're wrong and not collapse, that's a real strength. That's real thinking. This doesn't mean you become indecisive. It means you become honest. You stop pretending to know what you haven't examined. You start holding your beliefs with open hands, not clenched fists. You do this in conversations, in reading, in watching the news, in your own head. You slow down, you double-check. You learn to separate fact from opinion, emotion from logic, and story from truth. Breaking the addiction to certainty. Here's a hard truth: certainty feels like control, but often it's just fear disguised as confidence. People cling to it like a life raft, It makes them feel safe. It gives them a sense of control. But that sense is fake. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who do know. They're the ones who think they do and refuse to be questioned. They double down on bad ideas, push false beliefs, and resist growth because admitting doubt feels like defeat. If you want to think critically, you have to break up with certainty. You have to get comfortable with not having all the answers, with complexity, with nuance, with holding tension instead of rushing to resolve it. Independent thought in a conformist world. Society doesn't want deep thinkers, it wants followers. Strong opinions, clean categories. If you think independently, you'll make people uncomfortable. You'll stand out. You'll be misunderstood. That's the cost, but the reward is this: you get to own your mind. You get to say, this isn't borrowed thinking, I built it, I tested it, I own it. You become the kind of person who can't be easily bought, swayed, or scared. You don't follow crowds. You don't outsource your thinking. You live on your own terms because your mind is your own. But don't expect applause. Expect pushback. Expect labels: difficult, arrogant, contrarian. Expect people to doubt you before they respect you. That's fine. Thinking for yourself filters out the shallow connections, but strengthens the ones built on truth. Practical examples and success stories. David's story: reinventing his business through critical thought. David owned a small business. For years, he played it safe, selling the same products and following the same strategy. Then, the market changed and his sales tanked. Instead of blaming the economy, he started digging. He studied what younger competitors were doing. He read up on new models. Slowly, he started testing new ideas, different pricing and messaging. Some flopped, some worked. A year later, his revenue had doubled. David didn't change industries. He changed how he thought. That's what saved his business. Elon Musk questions everything. Why can't electric cars be fast and stylish? Why can't rockets be reusable? He doesn't stop at surface answers. He strips problems to first principles and rebuilds from there. That's why he keeps breaking industries. He refuses to think inside the lines, whether you admire or criticize him. He makes thinking a tool for invention, not comfort. Cultivating critical thought every day. You don't need a classroom, you need practice. Here's how to start. Ask better questions. Stop settling for surface answers. Dig deeper. Check your sources. Where did you hear that? Who profits from it? Challenge your assumptions, especially the ones that feel most true. Expose yourself to other views, not to agree, just to understand. Track your triggers. What topics make you reactive? That's your growth area. Think in drafts. Let your beliefs evolve. Refine them over time. Value thought over performance. Don't say smart things, think smart thoughts. Make this a way of life. Build it into conversations, reading, social media habits, and decision-making. The more you do it, the sharper you get, not just intellectually, but morally, emotionally, and spiritually. You stop living on autopilot. You start thinking with purpose. Let's do some exercises together that will help you challenge your thinking and see things more clearly. Belief inventory. Write down 5 beliefs you hold strongly. For each, ask, what evidence supports this? What evidence contradicts it? Information audit. The next time you encounter new information, research its source. Reflect on whether it's credible and unbiased. Curiosity challenge. Read an article or book from a perspective you disagree with. Write down 3 insights you gained. Question practice. For 1 week, practice asking, what else could be true? Whenever you encounter a new idea or perspective. Write down your answers. Better yet, share them in the comments because you're not alone in this. You'll probably see others posting the same thoughts you have, and that's powerful. Commitment and next steps. What one habit will you build to sharpen your thinking? Mastery is not something that happens overnight. Consistency, not perfection, is the key. Making minor mental changes every day helps develop a flexible, robust, and clear mind. Critical thinking isn't a trait you have or don't have. It's a muscle. If you don't train it, it weakens. If you do, it changes your life. Make this personal. Pick one small change you can stick with. Pause before reacting. Question your assumptions. Keep a thinking journal. Debate yourself on big decisions. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. Try this, commit to one change this week. Write it down. Share it with someone, track what happens. You're not born a critical thinker, you practice it. You train your mind to pause, question, explore, and reflect. This isn't about being smarter. It's about building a mind you trust, a mind that doesn't fold under pressure, a mind that helps you live with more honesty, clarity, and freedom. What does thinking beyond limits mean for you? Describe it in one paragraph, then go live it. But thinking freely means little if you don't trust your own voice. That's where the real work begins. You'll never feel secure if your self-worth depends on how others see you. Not really. You'll stay stuck on a treadmill of approval, chasing likes, praise, applause, and permission. And no matter how fast you run, it'll never feel like enough. That's not living, that's performing. Relying on others for approval often signals a struggle with self-confidence, intuition, and critical thinking. When you doubt your own wisdom, you seek permission instead of making choices with conviction, slowly surrendering your voice in the process. The more you look outward, the further you drift from your values, allowing hesitation and compromise to take the place of clarity and courage. But the truth is, no one knows what aligns with you better than you do. Trusting yourself isn't just a skill, it's a necessity for living authentically. Breaking free is about fortifying your inner foundation, honing discernment, sharpening intuition, and reclaiming the authority to trust yourself. External opinions will always exist, but they are just that, perspectives, not instructions, not judgments, not roadblocks. The real power lies in choosing to listen to your own voice first. I've put together a free resource to take this even deeper. It's a set of ebook summaries that give you a quick, powerful overview of the core ideas from my books, plus practical prompts you can start using right away. You can grab your free copy through the link in the description. It's my gift to help you start rewriting your story today. The high cost of external validation. You probably started chasing approval early, most of us did. Maybe you learned that being the good kid got you love, that staying quiet kept the peace, or that excelling earned attention. So you adapted, performed, and put on masks. It worked for a while. But then you grew up, and that old strategy turned toxic. You started overthinking everything. You hesitated to speak up unless it sounded smart. You avoided conflict because you didn't want to disappoint. You bent yourself into shapes just to be liked. And slowly, without realizing it, you lost your center. External validation became your drug. You lived for feedback. Praise hit like dopamine. Criticism felt like an attack. You were fine as long as people approved, but one wrong look, one bad comment, one cold shoulder, you spiraled. This is the cost. You lose your voice. You lose your boundaries. You lose time, years sometimes, trying to become what others expect. But the scariest part, you lose yourself. But what happens when you stop? When you no longer shape yourself to fit someone else's mold? At first, it's terrifying. Then, it's liberating. You start hearing your own voice again. You reclaim your choices, your time, your authenticity. And for the first time in years, you recognize yourself, not as who others want you to be, but as who you truly are. It's not easy. It takes courage to walk away from the approval you once relied on, to stand firm in who you are, even when it's met with resistance. You will face rejection. Some people won't understand. Some will pull away. But what's the alternative? To keep rejecting yourself just to fit? To betray your own truth for the sake of acceptance? No, better to be rejected by others than to abandon yourself. Because the moment you stop seeking permission to exist as you are, you step into a life that finally feels like yours. What internal approval actually looks like. Let's be clear, internal approval doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you don't depend on them to feel okay. It means you trust your gut, set your own standards, and know your values. You give yourself permission to take up space, rest, speak, and say no without needing someone to co-sign it. You stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be honest. It's quiet, there's no applause, no gold stars, just a steady, unshaken sense of, this is who I am, and I trust myself enough to stand in it. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't panic when someone doesn't. You still care, you still listen. But you don't betray yourself to win approval. That's what freedom looks like. Why it's so damn hard to let go. Breaking free from external validation isn't easy. This shift feels like losing oxygen if you've spent years tying your worth to performance or praise. It's scary. You feel exposed. You might even feel like you're being selfish. Here's the truth. Letting go of that need means grieving a version of you that tried so hard to earn love. That people-pleasing part of you wasn't weak. It was smart. It kept you safe. It helped you survive when you were too young to know better. But now, you're not a child anymore. You don't need to be small to stay safe. You don't need to twist yourself to be worthy. Letting go of external validation is emotional. It's not just a mindset shift. It's a slow, often painful process of unlearning. You'll feel guilty, second-guess yourself, and want to go back. But don't. That guilt, that's just old programming. Don't let it drag you back. Keep going. You're closer than you think. Signs you're still chasing external approval. If you're not sure where you stand, check yourself here. You replay conversations, wondering what someone thought of you. You hesitate to express opinions that might be unpopular. You say yes when you mean no. You feel crushed by criticism, even when it's kind. You need people to agree with your decisions. You feel like a failure unless someone else validates your work. These signs don't make you weak, they make you human. But they also leave you exposed to manipulation, exhaustion, and losing yourself in the process. You can't build a solid life on that foundation. At some point, approval must come from within. How to start approving of yourself? You don't flip a switch and magically stop caring what people think, but you can train yourself to care less and to value your own voice more. Here's where to begin. Get clear on your values. If you don't define what matters to you, the world will do it for you. Write it down. What do you stand for? Who do you want to be, even if no one is watching? Live by that, not by popularity, not by approval. Separate feedback from identity. Criticism isn't always an attack, and praise doesn't make you enough. Learn to say, that's useful, or that's not for me, without letting it shake who you are. Do things for you. Write something that won't be published. Dress how you want, not how they expect. Take a break without explaining. Build proof that your life doesn't have to be a performance. Sit with disapproval. This one hurts. Someone will judge you, misunderstand you, or criticize you. Let them. Let it sting. But don't run back to their comfort. Stay grounded in your own truth. It gets easier. Talk to your younger self. That kid inside you, the one who wanted to be liked, they're still there. Instead of scolding them, reassure them. You're safe now. You don't need applause to matter. You belong to yourself. The emotional power of letting go. There's a relief that comes when you stop chasing, when you finally stop bending for every opinion, when you breathe out and think, I like who I am today. That's enough. Your mind gets quieter, your decisions get clearer, you stop reacting and start responding, and you make choices that feel right, even when they're not popular. You stop looking over your shoulder, you look inward, you listen, and what you hear starts to carry more weight than any crowd. That's what approval from within gives you. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you stable. It makes you free. Practical examples and success stories. Tariq's story, choosing his own path. Tariq was stuck in a job that looked good on paper but felt wrong in his gut. He kept showing up, wearing the right suit, and saying the right things. Everyone thought he had it all together, except him. One day, he admitted it. He wasn't happy and didn't have to keep proving anything. He left his role and took time to figure out what he actually wanted. It was messy, scary, and the best decision he ever made. Years later, he's successful and aligned because, this time, the choices came from him, not a resume, not his parents, not LinkedIn. Like Tariq, some of the most enduring voices in the world are the ones who refuse to mold themselves for approval. They define success on their own terms. Lady Gaga is proof of that. When Lady Gaga first broke out, critics called her weird, fake, and over the top. But she stayed locked into her identity, loud, theatrical, expressive. She didn't chase mainstream beauty or tone herself down. Later, she stripped all the costumes and released Joanne, a raw, simple album that showed another side. Still her. Because her compass wasn't applause, it was self-approval. That's why she's lasted. Redefine your compass. Write your own approval code. 5 core values you choose to live by, no matter what anyone else thinks. This becomes your internal compass. When you start doubting yourself, come back to these. Approval detox. Spend 1 week making personal choices without asking for validation or feedback. Reflect on how it feels and what you learn. Identity exercise. Write down who you are and what matters to you, without factoring in external expectations. Social media reset. Reduce screen time and practice focusing on your own life instead of external validation. Disapproval practice. Identify one area where you fear judgment. Take one small step toward expressing yourself authentically, even if it's unpopular. Tracking progress, measuring development. Self-confidence takes time to develop. Every time you put your needs before others, you strengthen it. You will sense it even if you can't see it right away. Progress isn't always visible, but it is trackable. Here's how you'll know you're shifting. You start pausing before people-pleasing. You say no and survive the discomfort. You feel calm even when people disagree with you. You make decisions based on your values, not others' expectations. You stop over-explaining your choices. You check in with yourself more than you check on social media. Critical thinking and internal approval are not abstract ideals, they are daily practices. They are muscles you train, habits you build, and foundations you return to whenever the noise of the world tries to drown you out. When you learn to think for yourself, you reclaim your mind. When you learn to approve of yourself, you reclaim your life. Together, they give you the freedom to live authentically, courageously, and fully on your own terms. You've just seen how critical thinking frees your mind from manipulation, and how approving of yourself frees your life from the endless chase for validation. Together, these 2 practices give you clarity, stability, and the courage to live authentically. And the truth is this: independent thought and inner approval aren't gifts you're born with, they're habits you build. And starting today, you can choose to build them. If this message resonated with you, I want to invite you to go even deeper. You can get a free summary of my book right now. Link is in the description, or you can just head to levelup.now. Inside, you'll find the tools, prompts, and practical steps that will help you strengthen your thinking and reclaim your self-worth. This video draws directly from the core teachings in my book Self-Mastery. Elevate your thinking, empower your life, and its companion workbook. You'll find them linked in the description. They're designed to work side by side, giving you the insights, tools, and guided exercises to help you practice critical thinking, release external approval, and master yourself from the inside out. Remember this: your mind is your own, your approval is your own, and from here on, your life is your own. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, and don't forget to subscribe.